Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I'm your host, Brandon.
And Justin.
And today we will be finishing The Lies of Locke Lamora. Part 4. This book was conveniently divided into 4 parts. The next books aren't necessarily in 4 parts, but we have them divided up for the podcast. So that will be fun. So, yeah. So, wow, it's been a few weeks since we recorded here, Justin.
Yes.
Let's see, we are sponsored by Mudcat Whiskers, which is a Louisiana small business that sells beard care products and candles and also colognes now. So if you are a man or a woman or anything in between, I don't judge what you call yourself, but if you have hair on your face that you want to groom and have smell nice, you can visit Mudcat Whiskers at their website, www.mudcatwhiskers.com. And use code Paperweights at checkout, and you can get into some beard wash, some beard conditioner. They got balms, butters, and oils. So keep it all looking nice and kempt and smell good. Or if you're allergic to any fragrances or are a hunter or anything like that, there is the unscented ones that you can get into. And he also just released his new line of colognes. So if you have no hair on your face, but you like to smell good, check those colognes out. They are fantastic. They actually smell a lot different in the cologne version. Well, I'll say the notes open up differently in the cologne version as opposed to the oils or the balms do. So really good stuff. Go check them out. Support local business. Support those who support us. Nick's a great guy. Most of his profits he puts right back into his robotics and STEM classes and clubs. He is a school teacher. So all that goes into that. So support that stuff. It's cool. Wow.
Indeed.
So yeah, since the last time we recorded and talked, Justin, Jules and I went on our annual father-daughter vacation. We were joined by Chris and his daughter Nora for the first half of it, and we went to Tampa, Florida. We had or Clearwater, to be more precise. Spent one day on the beach. We spent one day at Busch Gardens Amusement Park in Tampa, which was fun. A really hilarious picture on the flume log ride that has like a 40-foot drop that Jules was super afraid of. And compare that to how happy Nora looks when she went down it with Chris. It's kind of amusing, but I get it. There's some things are scary, and you're just scared of them, and that's all
Yes.
there is to it.
Not a fan of heights.
She is not a fan of heights. I'm not either, but I love the thrill. Kind of like Dalinar or any Alethi. Nice little Stormlight joke there.
Yeah.
And then we finished it up the rest of the week. Jules and I went off together by ourselves without Chris and Nora and went to Disney World for 3 days. And I have to say, it's the first time I went to Disney World in the summer. The crowds weren't as bad as I thought they would be, or how people complain about them being. Uh, but the heat kind of sucked. This is more like Louisiana weather, but we tend not to stay outside for 10 hours at a time for multiple days in a row. So
Yeah.
um, the heat was what kind of got me thinking that I don't want to go back in the summer. Not so much the crowd. The crowd seemed to be about the same as it has the other three times that we've been. So, what have you gotten
Yeah.
into this month of June?
Uh, Nothing too crazy. Just been see something on my computer. Just been reading some stuff, doing the Thorn of Glass things. That gonna be having. I finished book two, so I'll have that sometime out. You
I'm
know,
75% through book one.
um, yeah, it's fun. It's a fun book. Other than that, I've just been chilling. It's been a quiet couple weeks when you were gone. Just um, we haven't been playing that much D&D, so it's just been real low key. Playing some video games, some Clair Obscure. Finished that. It's a great game.
That's the one everybody's talking about lately, huh?
It's so good.
What kind of game is it? Is it Souls-like
It's
or is it FPS or third person?
it's a kind of like JRPG, but it's a French RPG. So like Final Fantasy, party turn-based combat. There's some active like dodge and parries you have to do. So it's not quite all um, just turn-based stuff. It's really fun. Really good story, really good music, just everything.
How many
So
hours?
for like main quests and stuff, probably like 35. So
Okay.
it's fairly short. But you can do a bunch of side quests, probably get it to 60 or 70.
I actually prefer like shorter games between 20 and 40 hours with a good story. My time these days is more valuable to me. So like playing like I mean I love Diablo and action RPGs, but those games are just meant for you to sit and spend hours and hours and hours on,
Mhm.
where you're not really experiencing anything new. You're just grinding out for new stuff to be more powerful and take less time to do the things that you're doing in the game. So, not my cup of tea so much anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
there's not much grinding in it, so it's nice that
that's
way.
cool. I might
It's
check it
fun.
out. Might check it out. So,
Might be on sale with the Steam sale going on right now.
there's a Steam sale. Yeah, yeah.
It's always summer sale.
I haven't been paying attention. I mean, I don't play many video games uh, as much as I did in the past. So, um, with jujitsu and all that stuff, and just spending time with family, work, and all that.
Yeah.
So, and travel. I've in the past 5 years, I've amped up my travel quite a bit. So, um,
Hmm.
but yeah, maybe I'll check it out and see. But speaking real quick before we jump into chapter 12, one last thing. Speaking of jiu-jitsu, July 12th, I'll be in another tournament. So um, right now, it doesn't look like I have any active opponents in my weight class, but there is somebody else in my age class. But they're in a lower weight class. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll ask each participant, "Hey, are you okay with this?" And if you are, then cool. Because the last time I got dropped in age, so I went against somebody that was like 5 years younger than me. So, um, and in grappling sports, that makes somewhat of a difference. Um,
Oh yeah.
but I don't care. I go out there and I do my thing. So
Well, good luck with that.
yeah, thank you.
You're the best grappler win.
Yes, and
Right.
I'll learn and I'll have fun. So
Are you gonna start calling your biceps the Wicked Sisters?
I don't know. Um, that would be funny. These are the Wicked Sisters. Ready to meet the Wicked Sisters? The what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah,
Boom.
probably be better if it was like boxing or something. Like these are
In
my
your
wicked sisters.
fists.
Yeah, be pretty cool.
All right. Chapter 12. The Fat Priest from Talvar. Talvarar.
Alvarez. You want me to do them?
Well, yeah, yeah, you can go.
All right. So so we left off with Locke passing out. Basically, that was the end of the last part. So in this chapter, he wakes up. He's in a room with a physiker, Ebelius, um, and Jean basically saw him pass out and took him over here. We find out he's been asleep for 2 days. During that time, Caparazza has uh, killed off all the Garisas that were gonna leave. Like he said, they could leave in 3 days, but he killed them off in day two, because he's a bastard. And then he doesn't. We find out that Raza doesn't know that Locke is alive, but he knows that Jean's alive, and there's a bounty on his head. And and the reason why Abelius is working with him is that his brother got killed by Caparazza. And then we get the information that Jean is posing as the priest of Azagulia, the death goddess, and got some help from there, and he basically patrolled around the docks and found out that Caparazza is putting coins to the plate ship. That's kind of what happened.
So I was kind of confused a little bit when it jumped to part two, where it tells the story of Jean going back to the Temple of Azagia. Um, he did that in the time that he had dropped off Locke, right? Like he made sure Locke was with Ibelius and then went off. So it was like a time skip to be like, hey, this is what I did.
Yeah, it was basically like so when Locke went to the floating grave and saw like Copper Barsavi die, that's what Jean was doing. Sure.
Oh, well, yeah. But there he went back. So,
Yeah, basically
or
in that time, and probably also when he was passed out, he probably just so that's when he did the doc stuff when Locke was passed out.
yeah. Okay. I do like the bit about the Dark Brothers being their name for sharks. Uh,
Yeah, that's
so the Lady of the Silence, is that what was her name? Um,
just something like that. Long silence or something like that.
yeah, that they keep it kind of a secret that their sharks are beloved by them in the dark waters, in the deep waters. So that's kind of fun. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Let's see. Review my notes real here. And yeah, Locke is building his strength back, and he wants to continue the Salvara game. But he doesn't
yes,
have any clothes to present himself as Lucas Fairright, which is a problem. Uh,
yeah. We've also find out that John sent them a letter while he was passed out. Uh, and
Saying
we
that
so
Lucas
that
was
Lucas was
busy.
yeah busy.
Yeah.
Um, and we also meet Abelios the Physiker, who I'm guessing is going to be in book two, and maybe a part of their crew now, because
Yeah.
he's on the ship with them at the end and stuff.
I like this character. It reminds me of oh God, what the character the ex-maester in
Hmm.
A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, so that's with the Night's Watch.
No,
Not that guy.
no, not the Night's Watch. The guy that made the mountain.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Where he's like he was kicked out for whatever reasons. This guy, he not maybe not as nefarious, but he's kind of cuckoo. Like he's kind of like the homeopathic guy. Um, who the physicers probably would go.
Yeah, but he
That,
has to also have
that's
some magic because if he didn't, Locke would have been super dead, which we'll find out at the end. So yeah, he's interesting.
yeah, he's fun. So
And with all of the other bastards dead, we kind of need a new person. I don't know if he'll
yeah,
join like them for reals, but he might be like an ally.
yeah, I want them to meet Sabitha. Like, I don't know what book it's going to happen in, but one of these books he has to meet with Sabitha.
Yeah,
I don't think she's dead.
nah.
But I have a feeling that when we do meet her, she's gonna be somebody different. She might actually have dyed her hair a different color or something, and he might not recognize her at first.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
could.
been years, right?
Well, yeah, in the flashback, she was gone, and then we don't know if she ever came back. Like we never met her in the flashbacks,
Yeah.
so that would be like 12 years, something like that.
Yeah. It's enough time. I mean, what, they're about 25. Locke's what, 25 or so right now? So
Something like that. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean there's enough time, 13 to 25, for somebody to go through puberty and look different.
Yeah, and she was older than them, so she's probably like 28 or 30, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder if she has kids.
interesting. I could see them doing something like in book two. There's like a mysterious figure or something that turns out to be her in like book three, and that's when they actually meet, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind. Like, hey, they have these tales of like so and so, almost like um it's not rehashed the same kind of story with the Gray King being somebody, but something similar where there's a tale of like, uh the Dread Pirate Roberts, it's like, hey, this person, and then find out, oh, it's you? Oh, it's Sabitha. Okay, cool.
Yeah, or like you hear about like the Duchess of blah blah blah, and like he like sees her, but from across the room, and it turns out that she was that doing another scheme while they were doing something. Maybe be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, we can move on to the interlude, the White Iron Conjurers. This is basically just telling you about the Miragio, and you're like, it's basically he's like the merchant that becomes like the banking house of Camor and Coin Kisser's Row he built up and all this stuff. It's basically set up for the next chapter.
Yeah.
It's
That's
cool though.
that's basically what I got out of it. And they call him the Duke of Coin or whatever.
Yeah, he's so rich that there's like basically two rulers of Camor, the Duke and Nicavante and the Miragio.
Later on, the scene at Raven's Reach was fucking hilarious, but
Yeah.
we'll get there. This next chapter 13 was pretty funny.
Yeah. It's kind of all the interludes are kind of like this. There's just kind of like history lessons of stuff, which is interesting. We don't really get any character like flashbacks or um
Yeah, like I like this one because it really sets up the next one where, you know, he doesn't have to take the time in the next chapter to introduce the importance of the Miragio. And it's
yeah.
just, all right, now's action. Here we go.
Yeah. Um which I guess we can get into unless you got anything else on this.
No.
Yeah, good backstory. It's more fleshing out the world. Like I said previously, it's kind of what he's been doing each as the book progresses. Which I'm curious what city or state they're going to go to next book. That he's going to have to do all this world building all over again, which will be fun.
Well,
But
I think he said at the end, but we'll get there.
yeah, I thought it's still like going to a couple of different places. But chapter 13, Orchids and Assassins. So Locke is at hey, Mirage's counting house. There's a lot of descriptions about like all the guards there and all the different like ways you do it, and people rent out rooms for law business and stuff like that. But basically he's here to get some nice clothes so he can pose as Lucas Fairright. He tries a couple of times to um basically uh like get clothes loaned to him by these bankers. And he's like, I'll give you some money. You can lend me the clothes and you'll make some money and I'll give them back. And they each kind of like rebuff him. They do. One of them does think it's like one of the Mirage's famous tests, which plants the seed into Locke's brain about that. So yeah, then he basically comes with this scheme where he bribes a servant to give him his clothes. And then he like basically masquerades himself as a servant of Caparaza, and he's like, "Hey, it was super easy for me to get in here and kill you, and that's bad because we've heard word that there's assassins coming after you, and look, here's all the proof because I just bribed all these dudes and they're in trouble, and wouldn't you know?" You're like my same build, so I'm gonna pose as you in your clothes. So if anyone shoots you, they'll be shooting me instead, and I'm gonna be making so much money from Caparaza. I'll take the chance of dying, and I basically convinces him to do that, and he gets the clothes and tells the poor servant that he tricked. It's like, go get some money, go get the money I left you, and run, or else you're dead. And he like escapes in the wind. That was really fun chapter.
Yeah, I read part of this chapter to Chris, um, where the second guy he was telling, he's like, "Hey, um, was it all of the confectionery and everything?" Um, and Chris was like, "Now, is this?" He's like, "Man, he really wants this dude's clothing." Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of funny. It kind of reminds me a little bit. There's parts of this book and in this chapter as well. It kind of reminds me of John Wick for some reason. Um, I know it's not like I know the Miragio isn't like the head of like the Assassin's Guild, but just kind of like the counting house and how everything is set up in there. Set up an account or whatever, I mean, I know it's like a bank, but
yeah,
I kind of had John Wick in my head in this for whatever reason.
yeah. So nobody gets killed, which is nice.
Yeah, nobody does get killed here.
Um,
But the poor waiter, like he's like, I don't even know what that like if that dude had a family or anything, but like he has money now. Like, he has
yeah,
more money than he ever had, but now he has to leave, like all because of Locke. It's just like kind of ties back to what Master Chains, no, the thief maker had said of Locke, where he's like, you're too good at stealing.
yeah.
You just
And
fuck
he
things up.
and he doesn't take into account collateral damage. Even
Right.
though he gave the guy money, but yeah, he did definitely ruin his life.
Okay. I guess I'll live and start a new career somewhere else in the world.
Yeah. Good for you. And then we break um the tradition of this book and we go straight into chapter 14. Three invitations. And I was very confused. I was like, this is a very important stuff that's happening in an interlude.
Yeah.
And then I went back, I was like, oh, okay, it's just chapter 14. And I was like, I was very confused reading this. I was like, man, like this should really be in the chapter.
Yeah, it is. It is in a
Yeah,
chapter.
yeah, yeah. Three invitations. So there's three things. I'm just going to go through each of them in their entirety instead of jumping back and forth. We start with Locke. He's posing now as Lucas Fairlight, and he's got the Miraggio's clothes on. He's talking with the Salvaros, and they basically convince him to go with them to the Duke's Rest because they're out of funds, starting with the doing the spider's plan, and he reluctantly kind of agrees to do that. Then we get Jean. He's in his priest garb, and he's uh, skulking around a kind of abandoned building. He finds some dead glasswrights and goldsmiths that have been executed and going to be buried, and those are the guys that made the sculptures, taking care of loose ends. And then he gets jumped by the Bragaza sisters. There's a really cool fight. Um, uh, Lots of cool stuff. I would like to see this in live action. Basically, it ends with him killing both the sisters and getting royally messed up. Um, Very cool fight. We can go into more details as we go. Then the final thing is the spider. She gets visited by Caparazza and the falconer, and he wants her to invite him to the Duke's Rest and the all the festivities, and he's going to bring in four statues that are gifts to the Duke. She initially refuses, but gets kind of mind controlled by the bonds mage, and eventually accepts the proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happens?
Compulsion.
Yeah, basically.
Uh, yeah, the especially the fight with Jean and the Berenguer sisters, that was a pretty good one. And like it was mentioned later on in the story by Locke, he's like, or Locke and Jean were talking. It's like, yeah, Locke would never have been able to fight the sisters,
No,
um, but he got lucky with his fight against the Caparazzo.
he did.
So
But yeah, yeah, very. I think it was well written fight. I kind of knew where everybody was. It kind of showed off your Jean being a badass. I hope we get at least one good Jean fight a book. Um, and hatchets are cool, so dual hatchets is even cooler.
yeah, I'll say, oh, I gotta remember to talk about that in the Caparazzo fight because I
Hmm.
don't need to talk about it right here. Um, do. Let's see.
I will say my mind was going in the Jean fight, like thinking about the fight in the movie The Raid 2 with Ranma versus a baseball bat girl and a hammer girl and baseball Batman. If you've ever seen The Raid 2, it's very good.
It's been a
Um,
while since I watched it.
Basically, there's these two siblings that are like assassins, and one of them uses a baseball bat, the other uses two hammers, and it has like the same exact thing in that happens in this, where like one of them dies and the other one like screams and like gets really angry and starts messing them up. It's really cool fight scene. It's on YouTube. I would check it out. Great
Check
movie.
it out on YouTube.
Yeah, but like I
Don't
was
bother
thinking,
watching the movie. Just go watch the fight scene.
the entire movie is really good too. But yeah, I was kind of thinking that style for this fight would be so cool.
Yeah, I would really like to see that as well. So throughout this chapter right here, I thought it was pretty cool. Like some of the world building stuff, like using alchemy, um, to change DNA and the size of trees.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Alchemy is kind of like a mix of some science and some magic,
Is this
here
where
and
we
there.
get the that Donna Sophia made like alcoholic oranges?
Yes, oranges
Yeah.
that produce liquor.
Yeah. That's so
Um,
cool.
and then you can use an oyster fork and just pull out a wedge from them, which is fun. Like, because
Yeah.
peeling oranges sucks. Um, like full like oranges when you
Yeah.
peel them, they suck. Now, if you get the like the cuties or the halos, the little mandarin oranges, those are so much easier. But this sounds like a step up from that, where you just like open it up and you just use a fork and it comes off the peel. Uh,
Yeah.
would make it super easy to use the peels for cocktails as well. Um,
Definitely.
but now they're full, they produce liquor, so you don't need you don't actually need to make the cocktail. Like, you just have orange liqueur instead of a fruit.
Yeah. And we get more cool alchemical food later in the book. But yeah, it's all that stuff's really cool. Um,
And there was another part where he was describing like the smells of things, and I forgot where it was. I think it was inside the spider's garden or whatever, or it might be in the Salvara's close room. So the distinction between like the duty room and the clothes room was fun. And I think that might have been where the description of smells came into play. Just really kind of set a tone
yeah.
for me there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like I said, it's interesting reading this book in pieces as it is because I think I noticed it more. So it's like really part one was very bare bones in the descriptions, and it's just gotten more and more vibrant, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think his writing, I could potentially see that like part one he, he wrote when he first started writing. It was like, man, I have this idea. I'm gonna write this, and he started writing it, and he might have put it on a shelf for a little bit, and then came back after writing some other stuff, and it
Yeah.
was like, okay, now I have a better grasp on actually writing, and then move forward. I could see that happening.
Yeah, because I think even like early on in like part two, it kind of I noticed the switch. So maybe it was like you said in the previous episodes where you didn't want to like overwhelm people with details and stuff. They wanted to kind of just set up the characters. But it is interesting to read. So it could be, a young first time author, or it could be a deliberate choice.
Either one of those I would accept.
Yeah. Anyway, got anything else here? What did you have an inkling what the statues were when you read?
I didn't hear. I don't think they gave a description. He just said, I have four statues that are to be gifted to him and brought up. I mean, I made a note, said, I wonder what those statues will do, because that was very glaring. Like, okay, these are part of some scheme that he has
Yeah.
going on.
So I remembered, um, like the big things I remembered were like his crew dying, and I remember there was like a bunch of stuff that happened on the Duke's rest and stuff. I didn't really quite remember exactly, and I remembered what happens to the mage because it's quite traumatic. Oh, but yeah, so I was like, I remember something. I remembered him ending up there and like doing something crazy, but I didn't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, yeah, interlude. Let's see anything else.
Nope.
The Daughters of Kamor. So this is basically just a history lesson about how the whorehouses of Kamor came about, where they eventually overthrew their pimps and like killed a bunch of them. There was like a giant war, and then it was very bloody. And then two factions arrived. It was the Lilies and the Doxies, and even the Kappas don't mess with them. And yeah, it was cool. I don't know. I didn't really get the point of
I
it that much.
I don't, yeah, now that you mentioned it, I was like, hey, how did this tie in? Because, like, so I was trying to figure that out while I read it, and then by the end of the book, I forgot that this chapter even existed until
Yeah.
now. Um, my notes that I wrote on here, just like so the chapter about Miragio, I was like, okay, that was obvious. Like it's setting this up now. Very memorable. This one, now that I'm reminded of it, it is very memorable. But I thought at the time reading it that it was going to be setting up a danger of like Donna Forcenza or Sabitha coming back, and like okay, the ladies or people that are underneath are coming through or whatever.
Yeah, I thought like maybe like Jean was gonna go to um like one of the whorehouses and they like one of them maybe one of the whores there like really liked uh the brothers and they were gonna get some help from her or something like that. Um but yeah, I guess it's kind of just more like it kind of reminds me almost of that other story with the guy that holds grudges. It's like basically don't mess with Kamor. We're all crazy people and we're just gonna kill everybody. It's kind of, I guess that's kind of the moral of the story.
Maybe. Or we're
Yeah,
missing some big piece that could like still tie it to Danya Forcenza. Like
yeah. I mean, okay.
maybe we're missing something.
Here's the last paragraph, I guess. Brazavi realized something that too many men in the city were slow to grasp, the idea that he reinforced years later when he took the Braganza sisters to be his primary enforcers. He was wise enough to understand that the women of Camorra would be underestimated only at great peril to one's health. So I'm guessing that's like the spider I'm referring to her, maybe.
Eh, Maybe.
Because I guess she does sting him and he kind of underestimates this old. I guess so. Because he underestimates the old lady and she like stabs him. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was a cool
It does
chapter.
come up next, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
it.
The spider bite, yeah.
That works. But
That
it was just kind of like, all right, I'm reading about this gang war between the prostitutes and the pimps, and it was very bloody. So I guess it's cool.
yeah.
All right, it's chapter 15, Spider Bites. Um, so basically, Locke goes to the Duke's Rest. Jean is injured, so he's just chilling. Because he just, fought the sisters and got messed up. Uh, we get a lot of really cool descriptions of like the the uh the like
Food.
the food and everything and how opulent the Duke's rest is. With all these like alchemical hybrid animals and stuff and
Phantasmavola.
yeah. And like it was like what couple like hundreds of glasses of beer like stacked up and stuff. Um, it's very cool. But he's with the Salvaras, and they meet with Renaud and stuff. And there's a lot of like little banter back and forth, and like they're like, we know that they're trying to get him to see Donna Vicenza, and without raising his suspicions. Um, so they start going around. We get a lot of descriptions, like I said, of all the food and stuff. It was all very cool, very well done. And we get some more. We get little glimpses of the sculptures. First time there, they seemed really fun. And we also get this crazy like food sculpture of Comor, the map of Comor, which was really cool. Um, and
But there was another chapter with Danya Forcenza meeting with
Salvara.
the Salvaras earlier in the book where they had or Danya Salvara, and it was like a castle,
Yeah,
like a cake of a castle. So it reminded me of that as well.
yeah. They seem to like really like their cake sculptures. We get a really funny interaction with Locke and the Miragio.
Where Miragio walks by Locke, and then like he looks at him and then goes away and then takes another look at him and is like, wait, what? And Locke's like oh shit, he recognizes. Hey, I'm so and so. And look, the clothing I wear, I had it made specially tailored because I like the fit of your clothes. Don't you like it? And he's like, yeah. Like,
Yeah, and it's funny because like the Salvaras back him up, and he's just like, I need to get more drinks." He like runs away. It was really good. Then as they're going down to the to meet
oh, let's
Donna.
back up a second.
Yeah, yeah.
The second subsection actually like was interesting as Locke was being brought to Raven's Reach, or he might have been riding in the elevator looking out
Mm,
at all the different sections, but like the Day of Changes is there, and there's like so many things going on. Uh, Raza had like barrels of wine rolled into the streets in like the lower districts like Cauldron, Narrows, and Dregs, the poorer districts, if you will.
yeah,
Um, and coins were baked into bread and given out in the snare. So like once people realized like, oh, there's coin in all the bread, they people started like grabbing all the bread that they could. Um, Priests were visiting each other at different temples. Um, there's a new priest of Paralandro who's like confused by the
yeah,
fire that was beneath.
yeah. That's funny. He's like he went to the church and was like, "What the hell is underneath this church that's all burned up?" Um,
But
yeah, it's basically like I guess New Year's almost for this. So.
and people getting married in the two silver greens, which, if you remember, that's where what's his name got uh like passed out and was taken by the falconer,
Mm, yeah,
Locke.
yes, yeah. So yeah, all that stuff's happening. It's very. That's why the Duke and all the nobles are there too, because they're celebrating their own thing. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, all very cool world building stuff before we get there. And we get that city world building, and we get the Duke's Rest world building of all the noble stuff. But anyway, flash forward now. He's going down to meet Donna Vicenza, and he runs into Caparazza, which is fun. There's they do some veiled like threats and barbs at each other. He's trying to get a rise out of him about his sisters and things like that. But he doesn't take the bait. And he ends up going and meeting Urchinza, and she's playing like a old like dementia lady, and he's like just kind of sitting there like, what do I need? All right, I guess I'll just talk with you. And then she stabs him with a needle, and she's like, "Maha, I'm the spider, and guess what? You're poisoned. You're gonna die from grief willow." Um, and I want to know the names of your accomplices and where the money is you stole it. And if you do that, I'll give you this antidote. And I'm also like an old lady, so you shouldn't do anything to me. And he punches her in the face and drinks the antidote. It's really funny. Um, and then he drinks the antidote, punches her in the face, ties her up. Um, and
Jumps out of the window to the cage elevator that's going
yeah,
down.
which was really cool.
And
Uh,
the again, like he writes some of the most memorable and funny interactions. Like when he gets down at the bottom and the footmen are there. They're not even guards, they're just footmen that are manning the elevator. And they open it up and they're confused and they're like, did you get in on the top there? He says, yeah, but there's like the biggest damn bird I ever seen flew by and scared the shit out of me. They're like, what? And then like, that's crazy, the story. Like, that's not what I saw with my eyes. And then he flips him a coin and says, the
yeah,
biggest damn bird you ever saw, right? He goes, yep, the biggest damn bird I ever saw.
yeah. So he has successfully escaped. He's got a little bit of money from Donna Vercinza because he robbed her. And then he goes back to the hideout. He's like, "Oh my God, John, we are so screwed because the actual spider's after us." And lo and behold, we have the falconer. He's waiting for him. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. But we gotta wait because the interlude is coming through.
True. I do have a little bit of a nitpick that like she didn't have any guards in the with her to just like arrest him, but it's fine. It's just kind of dumb.
Oh, the spider?
Yeah,
Yeah, but like very few people know.
she has all of her night lighters like in the building.
Right. But she needed that to be a private meeting because it was
Yeah, like
for the spider. It was a she was acting as the spider and she needed that to be private because her guards don't know she's the spider, I don't think.
mm,
I think Reynard does.
yeah.
And we find out at the end that, Reynard did, but then or
I mean,
maybe he was
she could have had Reynard in there or like nearby after she poisoned him or something. I don't know. It was just a little bit of a it's a little bit of a nitpick that like she didn't think he was just gonna like punch her in the face and take the antidote, or like be like, I have the antidote someplace safe, instead of just like, here's the antidote. But it's fine. It works. It was just kind of funny at the time.
yeah.
Um, because I mean, he does kind of try to explain it like, oh, somebody so self-assured of themselves wouldn't think, and like they were all dressed nicely, wouldn't expect for some reason to get punched in the face. Um, but anyway, yeah, it works, but it's just kind of funny. We get I think the final interlude. Uh, Thrown in Ashes.
No, there's one more interlude.
Is there one more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there is. Second to last, the penultimate. Thrown in Ashes. This is where we get another history lesson about the Theron Empire. Uh, like it was attacked from the north by like basically Vikings, and they were doing stuff. But really, what blew it up was they fought a war against the Bonds Mages, um, in which because and then in which the king and all of them like attacked them and they got like utterly annihilated, and then they basically went back to the capital city and like burned it down to the ground and like basically glassed the place except for the throne. So
Yeah, the only thing that was left was the elder glass structures,
yeah,
essentially.
which is cool. Um, yeah. So don't fuck with the Bonds Magi.
Don't kill them.
Yeah, I'm I'm very curious about that because
Just
like
cut their fingers off and
and their
cut the
tongue,
tongue.
like that's not gonna work, right? They're gonna be after him. Hey, you can't kill us. We can just maim us to being like invalids, basically. Like, I don't think that's gonna work. Like, it's not like a magical contract. It's more like like a we're like an intimidation factor.
Yeah.
I just found it really funny. Like, all right, they only come after our and kill our entire family and stuff if we kill them. But if we just cut off all their fingers and their tongue, everything's cool. They're just like, oh, okay, we didn't think of that. Like,
Yeah. Well, he came
oh,
back. Another one came back like this.
yeah.
Oh man, maybe we should
And this
maybe we should
dumb,
warn people not to do this too. Nah, it'll be okay. Rarely are they going to be able to do
yeah,
that.
darn. Uh, it's just kind of I still don't understand. Like they have to come back in book two and be like, no, we're gonna force you to do stuff or something. I don't know. Anyway,
What if they give the falconer a prosthetic tongue which allows him to talk?
I mean, it seems like they can do everything, so they probably like regrow their fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
They
I
can
mean, they
like
would need another Bonds Magi to do it, but they sent them off back
get
to,
back to their place.
yeah,
But like,
Carthage.
yeah,
I
Carthage.
got it right that time. I didn't say Caltaine.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, because she's yeah. I won't spoil.
Yeah, don't spoil anything.
I'm
But
not saying anything, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen with that because it makes no sense. If they're just like, ah, yeah, you got us in a little technicality, but all right, he deserved it. Um,
uh,
we shall see. But chapter 16, Justice is Red, or I won't say it in the crazy it's like Theron tongue or whatever. It sounds really cool in the audiobook though. Um, the audiobook, I will say, is really good. If people have not read, I listened to it. It is very good.
it is.
You get all the Italian names and stuff. Oh, Donna Fortunza, all that sort of stuff. I like the dude that reads it too. He has a good voice.
Yeah, I was listening to it and then I realized that yes, there is a tilde on the N in Danya. So it's
Yeah,
Danya and not
Donna.
Donna.
Yes.
But makes it just Donna Facinza. It reminds me of there was a video meme where it was like a French guy is like, "Well, don't you know that it is croissant?" And there's like American is like, "Of course we know it's croissant, but if we go into a place and we're like, I would like to order a croissant, it'd be weird. Like you don't go like as a Frenchman, you don't go into McDonald's and be like whatever it is, McDonald's. You would sound very weird. Like so
Yeah.
it was funny. I didn't do it justice, but
I believe you. I laughed internally.
okay. But
Uh,
justice is red, so
Justice is red, or I hope I'll
it's not
find
spoken, it's red.
I'll find the phrase and butcher it on my own after I do the summary. The Falconer is right after the chapter left off. He basically enchants both Jacques, Jean and Locke. I can find their names.
Combine
Um,
them, yes.
yeah.
Jacques.
Yeah. All right. I should just put that.
Jacques Camora.
I should just put that in my notes. It saves time for instead of doing Jacques, Jean and Locke.
Jean and Locke.
Jacques.
Jacques.
Yes. So he's torturing them. Abelius is like passed out. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were alive, but I was just sitting here to murder Jean. I'm gonna figure out how I like the best torture." And first he's like, "All right, Jean, you're gonna kill Locke." But then he's like, "Wait a second, you're like the most loyal friend a guy could want. So what if Locke Lamora kills you?" And
Mm.
he like writes it down on his paper. He's like, "Ooh, I got your last name doesn't work, but I still have your first name, so I can still do some cool stuff to you and make you kill your friend." And he writes it down. He's like, "Go kill your friend." And he picks up the wicked sister, and he stabs him in the gut. And then he's like linked with the birds. So the bird's also in pain, and he's like, "Why did you think? Why did you think my parents named me Locke? That's a dumb name." And he cuts off the bird's head, and then he like ties him up and starts torturing him, and it's very gnarly. Uh, and he basically starts cutting off his fingers one at a time, naming the people that the Bonds Mage has killed. Starts with Nazca, and then it goes to his uh, fallen brothers, and then uh, lastly him and Jean. He basically threatens to cut off his tongue. But he's like, "Hey, you're no longer a bonds mage because you have no fingers." Because we've seen previously he's had to like do some like force power, little finger twirls, like do his thing. So like you can no longer cast spells, but maybe you can cast some spells with your tongue eventually. So your contract's null and void. You can talk about it now. So this is what we learn. Uh, the bastards were killed because of their money. He needed the Gray King needed the 40,000 Solarans to basically pay the Bonds Mage another month of service. We learn that his real name is Luchanzo Anatolus.
It's
Anatolius.
confirmed that because that's the name that the Gray King gave,
Of
Caparazza gave at Raven's Reach.
yes,
And
we
so this
we
kind of
find out.
confirms that he actually did give his real name.
Yes, we've learned what that means. He's the son of Avram Anatolus, who was like a powerful merchant, and we figured out about the secret peace between the spider and Kappa Barsavi, and kind of wanted to cut in on and get some of like the profits and stuff from that. But Kappa Barsavi killed his entire family, but the three siblings were able to get away. Um, so that's why he wants all this revenge. We learned that Luciano basically became a pirate, and that's how he got his fortune. And he's also the captain of the Satisfaction, the quote unquote plague ship. Um, his so he spent all his time getting all the money he can to hire the bonds mages, while his sisters ingratiated themselves with Captain Barsavi. And then he also spent a bunch of money on some Wraith Stone, which he put inside the four statues that are going to blow up at false light, which is a time period. I don't know exactly when that is. But it's like so he says like it's probably 10 o'clock or something, some weird thing like that. In the
I
afternoon.
think of it like as moonlight,
Yeah,
because
but I think he says like it's like 7 o'clock when he does it, and it's like a couple of hours away. Um, but yeah, so he's gonna do that. And he's basically gonna just murder the entire nobility of Comor, along with all the children and everything. So Locke, and he also tells Locke, "Oh, you're gonna." It gives him like the Dark Knight choice. Are you gonna save the nobles or get Caparazzo?
revenge.
Yes. So he's also tells him that he's gonna be at the floating grave. And he's gonna like go out on a boat from there. And he's Locke's like, all right, well, I have to save the nobles because that's too barbaric. Even I mean, I'm a thief, I'm not a monster, basically. And then he's like, hey, Jean, cut out his tongue. And he's like, no, you promised. He's like, "Ugh, take my revenge, bitch.
Yeah, one other thing that he mentioned was that um, they've been loading Raz's men 1 to 2 at a time with the provisions, or as the provisions out to the plague ship. And
Yeah,
so, like, while all of his men are getting loaded on there, Caparazzo will be the last one to join them,
yeah,
and they're going to pick him up at the floating grave, essentially.
yeah. So, so yeah. Then he heads back up to Raven's Rest. I first meets up with Conte, who beats the shit out of him. Uh, we get some more backstory on Conte with like the Duke and the like Duke Salvara and like how why he pledged loyalty and stuff. It was fun. He's just basically trying to get to Donna Vercenza. Uh, he goes through Conte to Reynard and eventually meets up with her and the two Salvaras. Um, she punches him in the face, which was funny, and then he gets punched in his face by Reynard. So he's just getting beat up a lot. It's really funny. He basically tries to explain what's going on. Uh, he eventually kind of uh asks her enough questions about the bondsmage and stuff that kind of breaks the compulsion on her, and she kind of remembers the conversation that was in uh chapter whatever 13 or 14. So he basically tells her enough to get her to believe him about Anatoly and like the secret peace, and he lets loose that she's the spider, and the Salvara said no. And he's like, "Oops, sorry about that," which was funny. Um, and basically, it all culminates. They all go and they investigate the statues. Uh, um, God, the Donna Salvara, the wife, who's the alchemist, like she figures out she's like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad. But luckily, Wraithstone is like deadened in water, So they all basically grab all the stuff, bring it to like I guess like they have like a pool thing, solarium thing.
There's a sky garden
Yeah, Sky
above
Yard
it.
with a pool. And
That's
they
where
some
like all the nobles' children hang out, so they had
yeah,
everybody out of there.
yeah. And they basically submerge all the statues in it and save the day. Um Locke's like, all right, you owe me. You're gonna pardon me for all my crimes. Uh and Also I'm gonna get Caparazza. He's mine. And she's like, she agrees to pardon him. He tells her that the money is in one of three barges full of shit that are leaving the city, and he doesn't know which one it is, but he needs to like it's there. So he gives her location of the money. Um, and then basically he then is like, "Oh my God, wait, the plague ship. He was the captain of the Satisfaction. He's got one final like contingency plan. He's gonna it's it's loaded up with
Animals.
plague animals that he's gonna unleash upon the city. You must destroy it all at once. Do it, please destroy it. Oh my God, fucking destroy it. And she gets convinced and she blows it up. Uh, yeah, that happens. It was fun. Yeah, lots of that. Yeah, then we get a cool like scene of like the satisfaction get blown up. And then we get a cool little scene of like the Gray King kind of watching it blow up, and he gets like a message, and it's like the hawk's head and like body parts, and just says, "We're coming." And he's just like takes his rapier, he's like, "All right, well, let's go one final battle." Um and
That has to be one of my favorite parts. Again, due to the imagery of well, here it was the imagery of this seemingly impenetrable and stoic villain going through a flood of emotions and then suiting up for a fight that's coming.
yeah, he puts on his like Gray King outfit. That looks really cool.
And he
Um
grabs his rapier, right?
yeah, he gets his rapier because he asked the the Bonds mage if he was good at a blade. He's like, yeah, he's really good. So, Locke sucks at fighting, so this should be fine. He gets Reynard's own steel though, so
Yeah,
pretty
and
cool.
Reynard gives him his blade.
Yeah. Um then we get the confrontation. He kicks out all the drunks out of the floating grave. And he's just like, all right, I'm gonna wait for the gentleman bastards. Then we get the fight. Locke appears. He fights, obviously completely outmatched. Has the whole like, ooh, like this is one thing you can't bluff your way out of. And he starts like fighting him. Locke gets really messed up. Like he gets like it through his forearm, is with the rapier. He gets like punched like above his heart. Like, he gets really messed up, but it's like stabs through him, right? And he's able to like grapple him. And he does the strategy from the interlude of the Half Crown War, where he's like, I just have to hold you until Jean comes and then you're dead, which freaks out the Great King because Jean just killed both his sisters who are badasses. He starts like looking around, and in that moment of hesitation, he's able to like grab his dagger and kill him, stab him a bunch of times.
This makes me believe that Jean actually didn't show up in that interlude. I think I mentioned that I didn't think he did. Because just the way he's like, yep, I just got to be here until Jean shows up. Um, which would, if I was Locke and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, Jean's gonna show up, and he just didn't show up, and like, oh, fuck, okay, well, I can't trust this guy, but um, maybe there will be some tension between the two later on. I don't know. I can't see it after what they've survived through here.
I mean, he does show up. Jean does
After
show up.
he killed
Yeah,
the Gray King. But I'm telling you, like in
yeah.
that Half Crown War, he might not have shown it. He just got the piss beat out of him. And,
Yeah,
and
I don't know. Their bond seems pretty good because he comforts him later on the ship or whatever. But yeah, I could see maybe something like that.
I wanted to read. You have more?
No, basically, he does the whole thing of like, leave me, and then John's like, no, you're coming with me, and they leave. And this is why I think Ibelius has definitely has some a little bit of magic in his physicalness because Locke should definitely be dead.
Yeah. I wanted to read here. This part was just really cool. It said this is in section 8. Whenever before the fight, when the Grey King was getting ready, it said he strolled slowly over to a bank of silver cords that hung down from the ceiling on the starboard side of the old galleon. He pulled on one He pulled on one, and the white lights of the chandeliers died. He pulled on another, and the curtains over the room's tall windows were pulled back, opening the throne room to the night. A tug on a third cord, and red alchemical globes came to life in dark niches and on the walls. The heart of the wooden fortress became a cave of carmine light. He sat upon his throne with the rapier balanced across his legs, and the red light made fires of his eyes within the shadowed hood.
Eh, very cool.
It's really a nice BBEG uh, scene walk up.
Yeah,
Which, if you're not a familiar, big bad evil guy is BBEG, term from role playing games and such. So
yeah. Um, yeah. It was a cool fight. I like that he doesn't suddenly get like really good at sword fighting or anything like that. It's more like his tenacity and brains to do the ruse. Because it also uh the Great King's like this is something you can't bluff your way out of, but he actually ends up bluffing his way out of. Um, so it was fun. You got anything? That's a lot of stuff. I will say I don't I don't know if she's gonna come back, but I really like Donna Vercinza. So it'd be cool. I don't know how much of Komor we're actually gonna see in these books because they can't really come back. But I wonder if we're gonna have any of her in the coming books.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of set up that her time is done,
Yeah,
but I do want to see the Salvaras back as the spider.
yeah.
I don't
Even
like
though we'll get to that in the interlude.
in
It's kind
the
of it's kind
epilogue.
of epilogue. It's kind of funny that she's like, "You're gonna be the spiders," and like all they did was get like taken advantage of by Locke. And she's like, "Yeah, we gotta promote it from being taken advantage of."
And this is your punishment too.
Yeah,
Punishment? You're making us the spider as
yeah.
punishment?
But it does seem that they are good people, so it's better than a really terrible person to be near the secret police. So there's that. We get interlude, a minor prophecy. This is like Father Change is like, Locker, you're gonna do some crazy shit. That kind of thing.
And
Because
he's like, you're gonna fuck up really bad
yeah,
one day, and that was this book. That was the
yep,
story.
yep. So they're in a together, but kind of cool, I guess. Get some Father Chains.
Yeah, rip father chains.
Rip indeed. Uh, I mean now
Epilogue.
we get to the epilogue, False Light. Um, we get a little thing where the like soldiers find the bonds mage, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is really fucked up." And it has a message that send them back to uh not Carbron, but
Carthane.
Carthage.
Send him to the city of bells.
No, so I was like, that's not right. The Terravangian would be really not happy to have a bonds mage. because
Yeah,
they seem super powerful. So yeah,
but
uh,
maybe not inside of the spiritual realm though.
true.
Unlimited investiture and power.
I mean, are they basically? No, they're not quite. They're like more powerful than like soul casters. They can do all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah, they are powerful.
Yeah, and we don't know what their like
Source or
sorcerer,
limitations.
yeah, or limitations if we're going by Sanderson's laws, except for having fingers, I guess.
You have
Um,
to have fingers and a tongue.
yeah. Sanderson's first law, you have to have fingers and a tongue to cast magic. That's his invent. This world, this shard only requires people to have fingers and tongues to cast spells. So it's crazy investiture over here.
What if you had a tongue on your hand with fingers? This is all the being that
Yeah,
was there, and there was a tongue in the middle of the hand.
that's a that's a creepy thing. All right, what shard would be on this planet? I guess all the sharks and stuff, be like the shard of Azagulia. So death. Is there a death shard in
No, I don't think death is one of them. But I don't know. I mean, odium.
Oh yeah, Odium would work.
Odium would
They're
work.
pretty vengeful over here.
Yeah. I could also see, I mean, I could see it being why is my Mistborn?
Oh yeah, yeah. Ruin,
They
Wrath, or
could have
whatever.
ruin and preservation.
Yeah.
Scadrial. I could see this planet
Uh,
being Scadrial.
maybe it is. We don't know. It's not. It's pre-Lord Ruler schedule.
Yeah.
All right, that's fun. Then we get Donna Vicenza. They are searching the barges full of shit for coins, and there's nothing there. And then she puts it together, and she gives a hearty laugh that confuses everybody. And she's like, "I was a fool." He said he was a servant of the 13th deity, the Crooked Warden. That was a the money was on the satisfaction. It was a death offering, and I obliged him. And she laughs to himself. Reynard seems pretty little bit mirthful too. You get the real sense that she really respects the Thorn of Comor, which is fun. Yeah, very respects. And yeah, I got the feeling that she was trying to recruit Locke when she poisoned him. Did you get that feeling? Like she was like, "You're gonna spend a couple of years in the
I could see
perdition or
that.
whatever." I think she was like, "You're really good. I'm gonna like send you to prison for a while and then like see if I can recruit you to come out." Um,
Kind of reminds me, if we're going that route, Damien, or how the hunter approaches Damien um, in Coldfire trilogy.
I could see that.
Um, can't really say much more than that without spoiling anything. But
Yeah,
you know where I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. Also, if we want to do a little bit pop reference, maybe like Amanda Waller and she's trying to build her own Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
the name. I'm glad you said Suicide Squad because Amanda Waller meant nothing to me.
yeah, becoming more of a nerd brand and God.
God, I'm losing my nerd card.
And then she, like we said before, she makes the Salvaras the new spiders. She's like, nobody expected an old lady to be a spider, so they're not going to suspect two people to be a spider.
Ooh.
Ooh.
She also swears everybody to secrecy that they got duped. And they're like,
Yeah,
"What? No, this is how he thrives." And she's like, "Yeah, I know. This is exactly why we're not going to say anything about this." Like,
yeah. It was funny. She was like, they're like, that's exactly what the fake night lighters told us. So why they don't know about it. She's like, yeah, but it's also kind of the truth. So, yeah. Um, which is fun. And then we finally get a thing. Locks the final. Seeing as Locke is on the ship, he's royally fucked up, but alive. Abelios is complaining that he's not doing what the doctor ordered because he's on the deck and he's like looking at Kamor for perhaps the final time.
He's like,
Uh,
"Bring me on deck. I want to see us sail away."
yes. And we're sailing now to New Horizons.
Talisham and then Talvarar is what they.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah. There was a little bit of like Jean and Locke where Jean was like, "I'm sorry for trying to kill you," and he's like, "Well, no, look, you didn't try killing me. The Falconer did." And it's like, "Shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot."
Yeah.
Um,
We
but
do.
also,
Yep.
don't use your real name in the future, you fucking idiot. Take up a fake name. And then Jean is like, well, you know my real name, so you tell me yours. We don't, as the reader, we don't get to know what it is, but we know it's 5 syllables.
Yeah. And it's something stupid. It's John's like, yeah, I can see why you're not called that. So, what book do you think we're gonna learn Locke's real name, or do you think we ever will? Is it the new book? Is that what Scott Lynch is teasing? Is book 4 we learn Locke Lamora's real name? That's the only reason to read book 4.
Maybe.
That's why it's taken so long to come out, is because she stumped on the name. He's like, God, I promised him Locke's real name, but I don't know it
It's
yet.
5 syllables and it can't be something stupid, but it has to be somewhat stupid because I already made Jean say it was stupid.
Yeah, he wrote himself into a corner, just like George R. R. Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's that's the book.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it this more the second time. I think I was more uh aware of kind of what it was gonna be like. Because like I said previously, one of the things that threw me off was how it abandons the like heist structure for a more of a traditional fantasy ending. Where like he saves the nobility and like fights the guy at the end and stuff like that. And like it's well done, but like when I first read it, I was a little bit disappointed to not have the heist be the central theme and for it to be a little bit more uh generic in the storytelling of just kind of more high fantasy. But going having the proper expectations this time, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, and like I said, I had tried reading it before, and whatever reason where it ended up not getting far or finishing, I can't remember. Um, I remember the details vividly of, Locke at the beginning with the thief maker and being brought to Father Chains. But reading it this time, I really did enjoy it, and I'm glad we read it, and I'm happy to see what the next adventure is for Jacques and Ibelius.
Yeah, I know like a one sentence kind of pitch that Dustin gave me. You want to hear it? For
For
what
book
he
two?
Yeah, from what he remembered about book 2.
Sure. I was gonna read like the first sentence or
Yeah.
paragraph, but
He said it's kind of like on the high seasons, a little bit of like a piratey type book.
I mean, it
It's
makes
not.
sense. Red seas under red skies,
Yeah,
and there's a burning ship on the
yeah.
cover here.
So
So
we'll get some swashbuckling, I guess,
yeah,
which will be cool.
it says sci-fi and fantasy fans will gobble it up. So if you're a sci-fi fantasy fan, let's gobble it up.
Yeah,
So, yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty good. If we're going of, we haven't really rated anything before, but I'd put it in mid, if out of 5, give it like, 4 to mid 4.5, 4.5. Just
Yeah, I'd probably give it something around that. Like, it, I've been, unfortunately pretty negative in the podcast lately because I really didn't like book uh 5 and 4 of Stormlight, even though there were some things that were good about it. So it was good getting back to just like good, solid book that I enjoyed reading. So I didn't have to be quite so negative.
yeah. And I tried, I don't try to find all the negative things. I mean, I usually don't try to find negative things in other people's stuff.
Yeah,
And I don't necessarily try to find negative things in myself. But I try to find the things that I can improve on in myself. Um, but doing that with other people is kind of weird a little bit, maybe. I don't know, unless you're like really close and you're like, hey, I believe that you can do better, and um,
yeah,
but yeah, it's to be honest about what you're reading and what you like and don't like about certain things, and be like, okay, overall, not talking about like Lies of Locke Lamora, but in general, a book, overall, like, okay, yeah, I thought it was okay. I really thought this was good, but then the rest of this stuff was kind of shitty. So it kind of really brought down my total experience for the thing. Um,
yeah.
it makes it better for the podcast, and just, like, because if we just read through things, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Then it's like, okay, these people are just saying, hey, we like books.
Yeah, yeah, and like, the point of it is to say your honest opinions, but when you're doing 4 or 5 parts, and every one of them's like, man, this chapter I did not like, or it's a little grating, even if it is the truth. Um, but so it was good getting something that I generally just enjoyed reading, and it was fun. Yeah, even when I had some quibbles with it, it's not a perfect book or anything, but it was overall, a solid 4.5, something like you said. Uh, really, really, really good debut book from the author. Like one of the stronger
Agree.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The guy's nice too. We talked to him, so.
yeah, seems like a cool guy.
Uh,
So yeah, looking forward to the second one.
Yeah. So the second book, we will read to page one. I have page 194, but it's the end of chapter 4. So when you get to the page that says Reminiscence, the Amusement War, you will
All
stop reading.
right, there's no interludes. There's reminiscences.
So
No, it's very
let's
it's very weirdly interesting.
There's a map of the Sea of Brass, and there's Talvarar and Carthage. So maybe we'll get some more Bonds Magi.
Yeah.
But let's read the first thing. So, prologue: A strained conversation. 1. Locke Lamora stood on the pier in Talvarar with the hot wind of a burning ship at his back and the cold bite of a loaded crossbow's bolt at his neck.
A fun
All right.
fun
So
start to the thing.
our boy Locke is in trouble again. Um,
I wonder if he's going to be known as the Thorn of Talvarar now.
I guess that's the ship that's burning on the cover there.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast because we didn't have anything set in stone. We still don't have a specific date. But we have been in conversation with the author Scott Lynch since meeting him at CoastCon, and he has given us the verbal or written agreement in email to be a guest on the podcast whenever we finish book 3.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So if you're a Scott Lynch fan, don't want to miss that episode. Um, I truly believe it will happen. But I'm putting it there. We will we plan on having that. Just got to get schedules and read through these next two books.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So if you have any questions, um, hold them off for now until we finish reading books two. Well, so maybe sometime in book three, you can send them to us. But we don't want to be spoiled on the events in books two and three. So if you have any questions about those, don't send them yet. But think of them and be ready to send them to us when it gets closer to having him on the podcast. And we will be happy to ask him your questions. So.
Yeah.
With that, do us a favor, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification on YouTube, share, leave a rating or review, comment, have some conversations. Did you like this book? Do you like the series? Are you interested in reading along more? Um, any of that engagement helps us continue to do what we do and have more people that like this stuff be exposed to it and makes the community grow larger. But Justin and I love this just because we love reading and we love talking to each other and
Yeah.
discussing books. And this gives us the a reason to do it. So we like doing it. Visit our sponsor, Mudcat Whiskers, and their website, www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code Paperweights at checkout and you save yourself 15%. So, any parting words for this episode, Justin?
Yeah, I guess just I'll record book two of Throne of Glass sometime, maybe this weekend, and I don't know if book one's already out either, but go listen to Assassin's Blade and Throne of Glass 1 when it comes out, and look forward to that.
All right. Yeah, I'll get that together. I was hoping to finish Throne of Glass and then watch and edit it, but um I'll get with you later. We'll get that
Yeah,
out. And next episode of this, we will discuss up through chapter 4.
yeah, new book.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.